Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. If you are finding yourself on this channel for the first time today, consider becoming a subscriber because we drop an update just like this one every single day at 1 p.m. UK time to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets. And actually, that's quite a large part of what we do on this channel is we synthesize the overall condition of the markets to help us work out where our small but very significant space is heading. And we believe it's a very bullish environment for risk. You're even seeing the likes of bonds starting to get a bid and housing, which has been hit very hard and has taken a lot longer to wake up than the likes of the stock market that has done very well this year. And of course, we're starting to see a real crypto spring that will lead into likely a full-blown summer in 2024. So we are going to be talking about that towards the end of the video. We're going to be looking at the total market cap of the cryptocurrency space. We're also going to be revisiting the 5 altcoins we gave the other day that we were looking at breaking out, and they have now all broken out. So we'll be saving that towards the latter half of the video. Really, to kick things off, guys, I want to cover one of the main headlines that is out today, and that is to do with some comments made by Gary Gensler. That is, quote, taking a new look on the markets based on recent court filings. Now, this has been all over the headlines across most cryptocurrency media platforms, mainly news websites. We're going to be looking at where this came from and actually playing you the clip of Gary Gensler saying this. We're then going to be talking a little bit about the ledger attack, and then we're going to be moving on to the charts and everything that we mentioned at the start of the video. So without further ado, guys, let's go over to a headline, and then we're going to show you where this has actually came from. So the headline reads, Gary Gensler says SEC's new outlook at spot Bitcoin ETF application has involved recent court hearings. Now, where has this came from? We are just about to dive into the clip of Gensler actually saying this, and then we'll move on to the ledger attacks and everything else that we've got lined up for you. So let's dive into the clip of Gensler actually saying this. I believe this was on CNBC. Let's dive into it.
Approval process going for spot Bitcoin ETF. I know you're facing a window in early January. What does that look like?
Well, Sarah, we have, I think it's between 8 and a dozen filings. I'm a chair of a commission. I'm not to prejudge anything, so that's going through the process right now. And as you might know, we had in the past denied a number of these applications, but the courts here in the District of Columbia weighed in on that. And so we're taking a new look at this based upon those court rulings.
Market's excited about it.
I love the little market's excited about it at the end there from the reporter. Gary Gensler, I can't help but every time I watch him, find him so contradictory. He said he doesn't want to prejudge anything, although he's prejudged the entire industry. You know, a spot ETF, I think at this point is a matter of when, not if. January looks likely. It's going to be very interesting. I am going to do a full video. When you look at the amount of Bitcoin that is on exchanges, it's around about 2 million. If you go across all the exchanges, of course, Binance has the most. Then you've got Coinbase or Coinbase Pro, and then many of the others. And some exchanges only have 1,000 Bitcoin or something like that, which is no small figure by any means, but in the grand scheme of things, it is. If you look at an ETF, so the ETF, if it's spot, needs to be backed by the actual underlying asset. Which means they need to buy it. It's why we see the likes of BlackRock being the largest shareholder in most things, because they provide ETF, the S&P ETF, for example. So they need to hold the basket that makes it up. But if you look at how much Bitcoin is going to be needed for an ETF, the question is, well, where does this all come from? And they are literally going to drain supply, I believe, from exchanges. There's going to be lots of over-the-counter deals, of course, I think. But you're going to see this real supply-demand thing take place that's also coming around the time of the halvening, which is set to take place in 2024. And it's going to be very interesting to see how things shape up. You know, fundamentally, we're bullish on the markets. Technically, we're bullish on the markets. And from a kind of rates point of view, which, of course, Jerome Powell gave, I guess, markets a green light on. He even introduced being open to cuts in 2024, which has not been the tone all year. So very interesting. An ETF is absolutely coming. It's a matter of time. And actually, it's absolutely my opinion that when you have Bitcoin through the door, you're going to see altcoin ETFs. And this is the interesting thing about crypto and where it's currently at right now. It hasn't been monetized by Wall Street. And there are a lot of negatives to that. You know, if you look at what we're trying to do here with decentralization, we're trying to sort of challenge the man, if you will. It's kind of contradictory to be looking at them to pump the cryptos that we hold and to allow it to really get to where it's going to go to. But this is a part of everything. Let's move on now to the Ledger attack. Ledger, which I think is probably the most popular cold storage wallet in the crypto space, of course, had a bit of an issue yesterday. Ledger is essentially saying that the attacker conducted a phishing attack on a former employee. Let's dive into this story, and then we're going to move on to some charts. So this is the article here that we have for you from Blockworks. Ledger says attacker conducted phishing attack on former employee. The Ledger attacker was able to upload the malicious code to ConnectKit after phishing a former Ledger employee. So this is the thing, guys. It's very scary, I think. Self-custody is... And this is why I think, again, around linking this perhaps to ETFs and stuff like this, the idea of institutions holding your crypto for us sounds horrible, but for people that don't want any kind of risk or to conduct self-sovereignty because they don't know how to, or they're worried about the issues with it, actually the likes of BlackRock ETFs and things like that make a lot of sense, and it kind of eases the industry into the sort of traditional world. So not to dwell on that too much, today's attack on crypto hardware firm Ledger was traced to an ex-employee who fell victim to a phishing attack that gained access to their NPMGS account in an email to Blockworks. The code was then published to ConnectKit. A fix, according to Ledger, was deployed roughly 40 minutes after they were alerted, but not before the malicious code was activated for 5 hours. The address was connected to a malicious code found in Ledger's ConnectKit software libraries earlier Thursday. ConnectKit connects blockchain applications with Ledger devices. Final timeline and updates coming. Ledger ConnectKit genuine. They handled the problem pretty well, and Tether has frozen. We looked at Tether early this week and the fact they could freeze accounts. The accounts that are essentially linked to the Ledger exploiter. So it's a very interesting paradigm that we're in, where you've got decentralized money that can be frozen. I think there's often good reasons for it, but as a whole, should money be freezable? I don't know. That's kind of what they're trying to do with CBDCs. So let's now move on to 5 altcoins that we mentioned the other day. But before we do that, let's talk about the overall space, and let's dive over to some charts. So before us, we have the total cryptocurrency market cap, which at this point here, we assessed a breakout was occurring. You can see you start to get elevated volume here, a good amount of volume certainly for this kind of period that we've been in, this real lull. And you'll notice it's not spectacular. And I think if you look at things like Google searches and stuff like that, we still have a hell of a run to come, ladies and gentlemen. The FOMO, the big retail pump and all this sort of stuff isn't really here. We've still got very low retail participation, still relatively low volume across the board, although elevated enough to sort of confirm a lot of these breakouts. So we were looking at the total market cap breaking out. We said the total 2 is also breaking out, and also the total 3. We also are looking at a full-blown alt season, in my opinion, once this pattern plays out, which we think may have actually now triggered on significant volume. So this is market cap dominance for the total market cap, excluding the top 10 altcoins. This is about to run to 20%. This is your full-blown alt season, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, the other day, we gave, let me just bring the video up, 5 altcoins that we thought were breaking out and that were likely going to go higher. And you can see the first one here is indeed AVAX. We had the likes of Cardano before really all of these runs took place. And let's dive into them. Let's go over and actually revisit these before we wrap the video up. So our overall assessment is, of course, that everything, the general picture for us is that the S&P, which we've been long really since going into 2023, and it's done exactly what we've expected it to. You've also got the likes of gold, which we think is going higher. You've even got things like bonds and now real estate getting a bid, and of course crypto as well within that. And you're also seeing what we think is going to play out for the dollar, which is going to provide this bull market that we are expecting, which is the dollar is now going to come down here. And this is the backdrop for the bull. And we were looking at a bit potentially of short-term support for the dollar. However, that didn't take place. Very quickly invalidated on that pattern. And of course, this came on the back end of what Jerome Powell had to say. So generally, the environment is very good. You're going to have a lot of altcoins that do exceptionally well. One of the altcoins that we mentioned was Polkadot. And we were looking at this breakout here. And you can see volume, again, elevated. Not spectacular on the breakout, but given the previous kind of the volume you've seen this year, it has been elevated and somewhat confirming of a breakout. So Polkadot is very much continuing to go in the direction. HBAR was another one that we looked at, and you can see, again, let's get rid of the RSI here. Look at the volume on this. You're getting really good volume on HBAR. We also mentioned, so we've done Polkadot, HBAR, AVAX, which I think at the time of writing was in the 30s. It's now in the 41s, which is, you guys can take all these opportunities. And of course, if you want to become a Patreon, do consider that because you're kind of getting ahead of the pack, if you will. But generally, just watching this channel, we think you're getting ahead of the pack. So we had AVAX, Polkadot, HBAR, and of course, Rose Network, which is one that many of you might be a little bit unfamiliar with. Again, you can see elevated volume here on a break of a long-standing resistance, ready for that continuation. And of course, the next altcoin that we're going to go into is Cardano, which has been doing spectacularly, and I think surprising many because Cardano lay dormant for so long. But this we were looking at around about the 40s. It's now up 64%, and it's getting close to some of the targets that we have generated for it. Again, on elevated volume, very good and key sign of a breakout. We're expecting things to do quite well. So they are the 5 altcoins that we looked at: DOT, AVAX, Rose, HBAR, and Cardano, that all seem to be going in the right direction. But there's many altcoins out there. We can't cover them all on this channel. We mentioned 5. We have hundreds that we're looking at breaking out. We even have stocks and things. We really are the breakout king when it looks to basing, and then a breakout of that base into what we call a stage 2 or an uptrend. The market across the board is there, and certainly the cryptos that we've highlighted are doing well, likely going to continue to do so, but so is the overall market. So strap yourselves in, guys, for what we think is going to be a pretty sensational 2024. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. If you enjoyed the content, like us, appreciate it as a comment. Have a fabulous Friday, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next.